In a slightly different kind of meditation, I want you to think of a room or a place in which you feel closest to God. It can be a favorite chair, a sunlit meadow, maybe a place where you sit at the dining room table with the sun streaming in. And this will become your special place, your place that you can wrap around you at any time. Many years ago, when I first started with Unity Seminary, our required class in prayer and meditation had us do a silent retreat of our own away from the campus. And I went to a wonderful place called Windridge Solitude. Now, I don't have to drive across country anymore, because anytime I need that image of that place, I can just wrap it around me, eyes wide open, in the middle of New Year's Eve celebrations or anything. And this is what I'm looking for and asking for you to do, is to find a special place, something within you. So let's sit back, let the chair support our weight. Allow ourselves to get comfortable. Hands maybe loose in your lap or wherever you want to put them. Feet flat on the floor. Take now 3 deep cleansing breaths. You can do this meditation with your eyes wide open or closed. Take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Breathe in light and breathe out any stress. Breathe in peace and breathe out any tension. Breathe in joy, letting go as you exhale. Gently release any tensions remaining in your body and rest. And rest. And now I invite you to enter your special place, a place of safety where you are at peace. Maybe a meadow full of golden grasses, or a lake whispering back at you, with a soft rhythm of water lapping on the shore. Or simply your favorite chair in your favorite room with the sun pouring in, or a fire in the fireplace. Whatever you choose, this is your sacred place. So take your time, open your heart, for you are loved. Now let go. Drift deeper. Feel spirit well up from within you. In the still and sunny inner sanctuary, you are immersed in the presence that is truly you. Gently now, gently, with your heart wide open, let go. Let go and let God be God in you. In the empty, serene silence. Now let your next breath be a little deeper and a little deeper. And as you come forward to this place and time, know that you are a sacred being. You are one with Spirit. You are life. You are wholeness. You are health and abundance. You are love, rich and glowing. You are the presence. You are what and who you seek. So take a deep breath, open your eyes, if they're not open already. And so it is. Thank you. We are on. Okay. Living life splendidly. I was so excited when I found this picture because to me, this is living life splendidly. And that, my friends, is Isadora Duncan, famous dancer of the turn of the last century, dancing in the surf. What an alive, vibrant picture. It's beauty itself. It's living life splendidly in all the ways we want to have it. Now, as I was preparing this talk, you have to know that there are 6 million different recipes for living life splendidly. And I ran into probably 150 of them. Just this from the Huffington Post lists 21, and I won't go into all 21 of them, but habits of supremely happy people who are obviously know how to live life splendidly. They surround themselves with other happy people. They smile when they mean it. They cultivate resilience. They try to be happy. They're mindful of the good, the things that go right. They appreciate simple pleasures. They devote some of their time to giving. They spend money on other people. They value music. They get spiritual, etc., etc., etc. Well, one of the things that I found with all of these is that our third principle, the principle that starts with the original from Connie Fillmore, we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind, and the upper one, which is Reverend Tom Thorpe's reworking of the language to make it as clear in today's language as hers was in her language, which is we create our life experience through our thoughts and feelings, through our intellectual and emotional response to people and events in our lives. That's where living life splendidly comes in. That's the way you get there. Which brings up the question, of course, immediately, well, what do you want in life? And Joseph Campbell did a wonderful quote. Let me get to it with my papers here. Joseph Campbell, if you remember, is the famous mythologist, wonderful, wonderful writer, and really one of the great thinkers of this time. And he says that people say that what we're all seeking is a meaning of life, but I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, the rapture of being alive. Now, doesn't that nail it? Because and we've all felt moments like this, the fields full of yellow flowers as I came, the double rainbow that I went under to get here. I feel that I feel so alive when I'm reeling in a fish. And you have your own ways of doing it, where suddenly the music is that perfect crescendo, and several of the places in Ferdy Griffith's Grand Canyon just make me shiver all over. That's the rapture of feeling alive. Sometimes people really catch on to this. This is some modern philosophers. Charlie Brown saying to Linus, what do you think you want to be when you grow up? Now Linus knows, outrageously happy. Doesn't quite work that same way the other way around. Linus says, what would you say you want most out of life, Charlie Brown? To be happy? Oh no, I really don't expect that. I just don't want to be unhappy. Poor Charlie Brown. I almost cried when I read that. Is living life splendidly, seeing the truth of who we are, seeing that vitality and strength, or are we stuck somewhere in trying to undo some of the things that we feel have happened to us? This wonderful lady actually goes to Unity of the White Mountains, and her book, Saying Yes to Life, has some very, very interesting things. She's a wonderful workshop teacher. But the thing that I'm keying off of here, and this is her book if you've seen it, Say Yes to Life. She actually has a website where you can order it. But what I'm keying into here is how she takes these blocks that we have, and she calls them the yeah but. Yeah but, you know the drill. Yeah, but if it weren't for my parents, I would be happy. If it weren't for my family or my wife or my boss or whatever else that you feel is holding you back. I had a session of that this week with, yeah, but if I didn't have the flu, I would be so much better off. Well, you know, yeah, but is the great killer of living life splendidly. When you've got a lot of yeah buts following you around, it's really, really hard to throw them all away unless you are really ready to do so. Please understand, there are no defining moments in our lives that declare us a disaster or a failure or forever abandoned unless we choose to make them that way. You have the choice to follow all of the yeah buts or not. Now, in all honesty, there's another slide in there. No, there isn't. There's only today is my turning point. I promise you, when I wrote out this talk, I didn't know that was the daily word for today, and it's perfect. There's only today is my turning point, the now that is my moment from which all things can be different. You know, it's not the story of where we are that counts. It's what we do next. We have the choice, and we have the choice because our choices in our mind and how we look at life actually form whether or not we are living life splendidly, because when we see things from spirit within, we make different choices that lead us to living life splendidly. And in the process of choosing, we also have to recognize that we're not choosing for other people. Your mother or father, your boss, your partner is not really responsible for you, nor are you for them. If you are in a relationship with someone and something you have said has provoked a disagreement, yes, it's up to you to be open to looking at what you said, but you can't change their mind. You don't get to make up their mind about what they should be thinking and feeling. And this is where that third principle comes in. this is through the eyes of Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 agreements, and this is definitely one of his agreements. There's a huge amount of freedom that comes to you when you take nothing personally. Yes, you have responsibility for what you do and say that maybe triggered somebody else, but their response is not your responsibility. And of course, if you are involved in a relationship and you're working with somebody closely, it's up to you to say, I see that something I did triggered something in you. Could you talk to me about that so that I can change and understand what it is that's going on with you? And that is a really basic part. I mean, we get this hammered into us so much as we're going through all the studies for pastoral counseling, that you don't get to make up somebody else's mind, but you do get to open your own heart and make your own choices. Now, there's, I always keep bringing books, don't I? This is a wonderful book. And this lady, Mindy Adler, has started something fabulous with this concept of what if. What if changes how you think about things? Her method has gone across the country. She too is a fabulous speaker. There's what if up clubs all over the place, because what she's done is turned around the phrase what if, from what if my life falls apart, what if I have a disaster, to what if all of these things that I'm looking at can be changed to a positive thing. And yeah, but changes when you do that. What she says is that the only way to improve the current reality is to change the question to what if, upward, in an upward sense, is to use the power of what if in a resourceful manner. People who use these questions to fuel their internal fire, moving forward with ideas and allowing them to grow and expand and multiply. What if? What if it does work? What if the resources you need are right at your fingertips? What if it's easy? What if it's fun? What if it transforms your life in ways you can't even imagine? The question, what if, acts as a midwife, supporting you as you birth a joyful, abundant life for yourself, for the community, and for the world. So what this does is change, yeah, but, you know, my parents didn't treat me good, and I still really need attention to, yeah, but what if? I lost my job. Yeah, acknowledging the reality, but what if? This gives you an opportunity to reach forward into something that you never would have thought of otherwise. Something that's going to give you more pleasure and joy. You can take these different, yeah, but what if, and look at anything in your life and open up the possibilities. Yeah, but what if we find blessings in adversity? You're not always going to have a blissful. I don't know about you, but I know very few people that have had 100% joy the whole time of their lives. It's not a failure, and it's not a failure even if you're on a spiritual path, to occasionally have things that you really have to look at. It's part of growing up. It's part of being alive. So what if moving through conflict strengthens us and prepares us for bigger opportunities? I think of the wife of Joseph Campbell, Jean Erdman. She was a dancer along the lines of Isadora Duncan. She was very, very creative. The day after they got married, she joined the Martha Graham dance troupe as a principal dancer. With all of this wonderful inventiveness and aliveness and uniqueness to her dance. Well, you gotta know Martha Graham didn't like that. She was queen in her realm, and she used it. And they fought off and on over a period of about 6 years before Jean finally said, "I've had it," and left. And she said, "It was awful." Martha looked at her and said, "I never expected you to betray me." But she said it opened up a whole new world for her. And she went on to have her own school of dance. She didn't get as famous as Martha, but oh my God, what she did with it. What if the discomfort we would most likely to avoid is actually a life-changing gift in disguise? I'm sure that you all have discomforts, much beyond exercising in the morning, that bring you gifts, but you don't know it. There are so many things in our lives that are like that. What if adversity serves to reinforce our faith and build up spiritual muscles? What is my spiritual truth? And that's what we keep going back to. That's what's underneath the third principle that we've been talking about. The spiritual truth that is us down to our very selves. I think of Viktor Frankl, that wonderful, brilliant Australian psychologist who spent some very painful time as an inmate in the concentration camps. And he said that amongst all that brutality, amongst all that death and despair, he found out that they couldn't take away from him the freedom to determine his own attitude, the freedom to determine his own spiritual well-being. Powerful. In the middle of a concentration camp, he had that insight. When I was preparing this talk, I kept hearing the word talents crop up in my mind. And I thought, oh no, I hate that parable. What are you doing to me? And it kept going and going and going. Finally, it just hit me with a glaze. I understood it for the first time. So let's take a look at this. There's some way that I touch it. The parable of the talents. For it is as if a man going on the journey summoned his slaves and entrusted property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, another 1, and each according to his ability. And then he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the masters of those slaves came back and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents. Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I've made more. And his master said, well done, good and trustworthy slave. I will put you in charge of many things. And the one with 2 talents came forward also and saying, Master, You handed over to me 2 talents. See, I've made 2 more talents. His master said, well done, good and trustworthy slave. I will put you in charge of many things. And then the one who received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours. But his master replied, you wicked and lazy slave, you knew then, did you, that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. And so he took the talent and gave it to the one who had brought home the most. And the moral that seems to go with this everywhere, in all the versions I've read, and this version actually comes from the Gospel of Thomas, whoever has something in hand will be given more, and whoever has nothing will be deprived of even the little that they have. Where is blessed and the poor in all of this? That's why I hated that parable. But now take a look at it in terms of the 3rd principle, because it proves the 3rd principle and precedes it and speaks of it deeply. The viewpoint of the 2 slaves was challenging, and let's go out and do something with it. Let's go out and make more with it. It isn't our money, but let's go do it anyway. And they had a positive outlook, and they did well. But the one who was afraid didn't have that same consciousness. And he was, as the Bible says, cast into outer darkness where there was weeping and gnashing of teeth. I love that phrase. But the way you think and what you think about forms how you live life. Because it changes your outlook, and your changed outlook changes the choices you make. That is the 3rd principle. And, whoops, I think we took the one out there. That is the 3rd principle. Our outlook defines our life and choices. We are co-creators with God, creating reality through the thoughts that we hold in our minds. So what if we dare to be happy? I challenge you. Homework. Till October 20th when I come back. Dare to be happy. Dare to change your own outlook. Miller, I do this every time to her, poor lady. Myrtle Fillmore said, we are to cease worrying and being anxious, and thinking and speaking of the past and of the apparent lack and idleness. We're to concentrate all our attention upon the truth of God and the truth of our own being, upon the very things we would see taking place in our lives. The results will take care of themselves once we have started our foundation in truth. And that truth, of course, is the truth of our spiritual being. So Mindy Audlin, in her last blog, and if you get a chance, go online and sign up with this. It's a wonderful gift to yourself. And she says, what if you fulfill your calling? What are you here to do? For what purpose have you been sent to this time and place? And are you fulfilling that calling in your life? What if you trust that calling deep within your heart? And then she challenges us. What if you commit to fulfilling that calling through every relationship, including your relationship with yourself? What if you share that calling with others so they may know you more deeply and count on you according to that call? It's quite a challenge. It's the reason I'm standing here in front of you today. I took up that challenge to become a minister. And I can tell you at the time of my calling, it was the furthest thing from my mind. But it was really there, and it was really quite obvious at the time. The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. Everything that you want, you already are. We take up the challenge to acknowledge and claim our own divine kinship. We dare to be happy. We are who we've been waiting for. We are who we've been waiting for. Thank you.